Lord, work with me. Work with me, Lord. All right, guys. Hey, guys, it's DC, and welcome to the Soap Sanctuary, guys. I'm finally live. I apologize, guys. Oh, my goodness, guys. I was trying to use Zoom, and Zoom is a hot mess when you're trying to go live. It is just the hottest of the hot messes. When you're going live, everybody's going live, just give you guys a quick tidbit. If you're going live at any point in time, you got to comb through all of these things with a fine tune to make sure people can see the comments, all that stuff. But anyways, guys, this is my live stream. Sorry, it took me 26 minutes now to get into this. I was using Zoom, but Zoom was being dropped. I see there's one person here. If you can hear me, please let me know, because I just want to make sure everything is working correctly. If you can, just type in an A or a Z or something in the chat so I know you can hear me, something. But anyways, guys, this is my live stream. I was thinking earlier today about soap opera characters who have been written into a corner. And I thought about this when I was watching Y&R earlier today with Chelsea, Billy, and the whole Victoria storyline, guys. As I was watching it, I thought to myself how they've now written Chelsea Lawson Newman, into a corner. And I made a little joke on my community where I said that I felt like Chelsea Newman must have been Annie McDermott in a past life because, well, it was played by the same actress, who was Melissa Claire Egan. So when Melissa Claire Egan also played Annie McDermott on My Children, they wrote Annie into a corner after a certain point in time. Annie was the wife of, I think she was married to Ryan Lavery, but I know for a fact she was married to Adam Chandler. And then Annie went psycho. She dyed her hair. She became a brunette and then went psycho. They wrote her character into a corner, if you ask me. And I feel like the same thing is happening right now with Chelsea and Y&R. Her character is getting written into a corner. And what I mean by that when I say the character is getting written into a corner, it essentially just means that there's no more other room that the character can go with, in a sense. So in a way, it's kind of like the character is written in such a way that, for one, either they can't be redeemed or there's just no coming back from their storyline. They've literally just been boxed into this place over here. And you can tell the writers, maybe in some certain ways, are having a tough time writing for the potential character. So sometimes that's something that also happens as well, I would say, on these storylines with the soaps. So as I was watching, I said to myself, they've really written her into this corner for what I'm seeing. Okay, I see I have one person in chat. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear me on this chat? I got one person here. One person. I got one person. One person rocking me right now. But are you able to hear me on this chat? That's something I wonder. Are you able to hear me? Are you guys able to hear me? Because I got to make sure everything's working copaesthetically on this chat. I got to make sure everything's working copaesthetically. So if you can hear me, just let me know, so I know that you can hear me on this chat. Just so I know the audio and everything is working correctly. Okay, Jay Chandra, thank you for telling me that. Thank you. I need to know this is working correctly. Thank you. So I wanted to know, guys, my question I have for you guys in the chat today is, what is a particular soap character that you feel that I haven't mentioned, that you feel has gotten written into a corner, and why? So another example I thought of about a soap character got written into a corner was Chase Jennings on Days of Our Lives. I don't know if you guys remember Chase. Chase Jennings was written into a coma on Days. Not a coma, a corner. He was written into a corner on Days. And with Chase was the stepbrother of Sierra Brady, and he was the son of Aiden Jennings. And they really wrote this man into a corner because he became Sierra's rapist, and he was the son of Aiden Jennings, who was already a villain at the time in Salem. And I know the actor was pissed about that storyline, because after they wrote that for him, there's nothing more his character could do, and he was like a teen rapist. Oh God, it was a really bad story. It was a good storyline, but it was bad at the same time. If you understand what I'm saying, it was really bad. Because at that point in time, I was like, how much is Sierra and Hope going to go through? Hope's already found out that her husband's deceiving her. He's tried to kill her. And then now we're finding out that Sierra's stepbrother, who she's had feelings for at one point in time, is now assigned to rape her. It was a bit controversial. It was a bit controversial. It wasn't really the best, well-written storyline that I would say, but they really did try at that particular time. They tried their best. Now I'm watching Y&R right now, and I got to say that Y&R is being written, I think, very well. With this Tucker and Diane storyline, that is. Everything else is questionable. Everything else in Y&R is a little bit questionable. But Diane and Tucker, that storyline is actually pretty damn good, in my opinion. I wasn't sure how this was going to go with Trevor St. John, but I thought he was pretty good on Y&R. I honestly felt like he was pretty good. I felt like he was pretty damn good. Hold on, guys. Let me just check real quick on my phone. I'm going to check and make sure Let's see how this live stream is looking on your guys' end. You got to have two ways of looking at things, right? That's what I believe. You got to have two ways of looking at these things here. But anyways, I was watching. I got JoJo. Joestar says, "Hey man, what's up? How you doing? I'm doing good, JoJo. How you doing? How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good." So when I was watching YNR today, with Tucker McCall, played by Trevor St. John, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting because the Diane storyline to me is the only interesting storyline that we've actually got right now, I want to say, on the show, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys are any of the storylines are sticking out to you, but this is the only one for me that's kind of like making me want to watch the show. And then the Nate and Victoria thing they got going on with that. Those are the only two things I want to watch. Those are the only things that make me want to tune in to watch, I would say. Another thing that I would bring up is retroactive Emmys. It's another thing I thought of too, right? Because we always think about how like there's some people who some daytime storylines and the soaps where you know we feel like that actor or actress should have gotten an Emmy and they didn't get one. And I feel like this will be good for primetime Emmys too, where they have a thing where they do retroactive Emmys and they can call it like the Legend Emmy or give it some type of name like that, where people from the past, like Michael Sutton, who played Stone on GH, could still have the chance to get an Emmy, even though it's been some 20 or whatever, so many years since their storyline, because they usually do have the Lifetime Achievement Award. So I feel like they could also do a legend award or something like that for like a past storyline or whatever on the soap. And they could do the same with primetime Emmys too if they want to, you know, where they could do that for past series for people who, because here's the thing, the Emmy committee that votes on these things, maybe it's possible at that time when they saw all the submissions, they didn't feel that qualified for it. But who's to say 20 years later they wouldn't feel different, or the committee that's here now would not feel different. So that's something that I keep in mind all the time. All right, so I got here in the chat Jojo Joestar, who says, "How do I start soap? I feel like it is something sacred." Okay, so do you mean like how do you start watching soaps? How do you get into it? How you would, I guess, make one of your own? Tell me what you mean by that exactly, so I can answer you properly in that. I would say, tell me what exactly kind of what you mean by that, so I can understand. How would I start? Like your own or watching it? You can differentiate between those two. Between those two, which one would you differ? If you could differentiate between those two for me. Okay, watching it. Um, the simplest way to watch it, I would say start to watch it. Honestly, don't watch it in the middle of the week. Watch it on Monday. Um, Allow yourself time to understand who the characters are if you're watching the soap. I remember when I first started watching Young the Restless, it took me 6 months to know who everybody was, but obviously we have the internet now. So, like, for example, I've been watching the American soaps for some 10, 20 years now. The British soaps I've only just now been watching for 4 months. So that's soaps. That's another soap. It's like, once again, I'm new to watching the soap again. However, there's the internet now. So if there's anything that's new to me or character relation I don't understand, I just Google it and I get the answers. And there's like these wiki pages that are built just for soap operas where they tell you the person's family tree, the blood, like their bloodline, everything they've done, who they've been married to. So it makes things a lot more easier in a sense. It makes the information more easier to understand, I would say. And then you have a better idea of who's who and what's what without having to take so many months for you to understand everything on the show, if that makes sense. So I hope that kind of makes sense just a little bit in that, I would say. Um, but as I was thinking about it, I feel like they could do retroactive Emmys. I feel like that would be, oh, of course, Jojo, of course. I feel like they could do retroactive Emmys because I feel like Michael Sutton, who played Stone in GH, he deserves an Emmy. That was like a once in a lifetime storyline, and his character was killed off. So yes, he's been brought back as a ghost, but that's not necessarily Emmy nominee worthy. So I feel like if Michael Sutton was brought, like if they could have a category, the Emmys for like like I said, they could call it the Legend Award or give it some kind of whatever fancy name they want to give it. And that way, past storylines that might have been overlooked can still that particular actor, actress, or whomever can still get the chance to possibly win an Emmy. That's what I would say for that. They could still get the possible chance to win an Emmy by doing that. So that's something I honestly do wish they would do. Honestly, I wish they could do that. And another character that I was thinking about that they had written into a corner, also a YNR character, is JT Halstrom on The Young and the Restless. I felt traumatized in a way when they turned this man into this abusive man, this white beater. Of course, that's what made it soapier because it was JT was a shock, but it was so weird because of JT. I knew when I started watching the show, he really loved Victoria. He really cared about her. He was the one who was singing with his guitar when she was in the coma, and then afterwards she had given birth to, I think, Reed through cesarean section. So it was something that I really liked at that time. So I really appreciate that. By the way, Jojo and Jay Sandra, this is the first time I've seen guys in the chat. I've never seen guys in the chat before, unless I've overlooked it. If I did, my fault. My fault. It's the first time seeing guys in the chat here. So thanks for coming on by. I only got one person today. But hey, listen, that one person was rocking with me tonight. Even if it's nobody, you guys will catch the replay. So it's all good. It's all good. You guys will catch the replay. It's all good. I apologize. I've had so many technical issues when setting up this YouTube live. It's not as simple as I thought it would be. I thought there should just be a button where you can just click it and it just, or from Zoom, and it just goes right to YouTube. And I know some people are going to say there is that, but not from what I'm experiencing. I'm not having that same experience. So, I appreciate it, but I'm not having that same experience, though. So, but I finally got this set up, guys. So I'm happy about that. But I do want to know from you guys that are coming into the chat. Like I said, I posted a question tonight. Which soap character, which you feel I haven't mentioned, has gotten written into a corner and why? Like I said, a few minds I'd point out was just Annie McDermott on All My Children, Chelsea Newman on Young and the Restless, Chase Jennings on Days of Our Lives. Annie McDermott on All My Children. I think I said All My Children. Then Young and the Rest. All My Children. But those are the characters that I feel, for me, that got written into a corner, I want to say. It's just the way the writing was. I don't know what it was. Just the way the writing was. I feel like they got written into a corner on that. So I just feel like even right now with Chelsea, the writers clearly don't know, I feel, in my opinion, what to do with her. I don't feel like they really know what to do with her at this point. So they kind of put her in this, a little bit of the pseudo box in a way. It's so weird when Adam, I was watching a scene with Adam and Chelsea, and he said, you're not his mom, but technically she is his mom. She's his mother, biological mother. It might be his mom was taking care of him, but she gave birth to him. So I feel like Chelsea has a point. And I feel like if it was Adam wanting to pursue custody or rights to Christian, he would be just as gung-ho as she was as well. In my opinion. That's the way I view it. I feel like she would be just as gung-ho as he was. So, but for me, I don't know, this storyline, it's a hit or miss for me. It's a hit or miss. I'm open to it. I'm open to see where it's going to go. But I'm like, okay, let's see how this is going to pan out. I do have to say that bringing back Tucker McCall on The Young and the Restless was one of the most brilliant decisions, because now Devon is actually getting a real storyline, kind of, sort of, not really, kind of, sort of. And then on top of that, he's interacting with Diane, and we know he's a rival for Victor, and he has an interaction with Ashley. So it's like everybody in between for Tucker McCall. So I was actually pretty happy about that. I'm happy that they brought back Tucker McCall on the show. Hey, George, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, guys, what's going on? Okay, guys, for you, some of you guys who are coming in, my question tonight is, which soap character that you feel I haven't mentioned at all that has gotten written into a corner, and why? Or it could be one I have mentioned. That's cool too. Could be one which show about character you feel has been written into a corner, meaning like they wrote this person so much into a corner that the character could not be redeemed, or in a sense, this person is withered away off canvas because of how terrible the writing was. So you guys can tell me about that. Now, with Tucker McCall, like I was saying, I think the storyline is brilliant. I think it has a lot of potential. Diana is probably one of the only few things that's interesting on YNR right now. One of the fewest things. And when you look at Phyllis and Nikki and Ashley, clearly they have nothing else going on in their lives. They have to obsess over Diane. I understand a little bit of Nikki's point of view, because Diane did set her up for her murder. So you want to have a little bit of revenge when you think about that. Phyllis's case, Phyllis is just Phyllis, because I didn't understand the wedding was when she whispered to Nikki, oh, look at her trying to worm her way back into Kyle and Jack's life. Kyle's her son, first of all. Like, that's not so far-fetched that you would want to be a part of her son's life. At least not to me, it's not. I don't think it would be that far-fetched, in my opinion, that she wanted to be a part of her son's life. To me, that's not so far-fetched. I just also feel like, what is this thing that Tucker McCall helped Diane do? Because even Diane did fake her death, which you already know that. What could be at this point so nefarious behind her connection with Tucker that we don't know? Because we already know they slept together in the past. That's not news. But what could be so nefarious is what I'm wondering about those two and their connection, that she doesn't want anyone to know they're affiliated with one another. Because everyone already knows you faked your death at this point. So what could be such a nefarious thing that you guys have got going on? You know what I mean? What is it, such a nefarious thing you have? Okay, anybody come in the chat, just let me know if you can hear me. I'm just doing some more check-ins here. Let me know if you can hear me here in the chat. Just want to make sure that everything's working all right. Sorry, guys. I apologize, like I said, once again, for coming on so late. Okay, George comes on. George Blackman. I know George. I say your full name. I'm saying it so regally. You know how this days when they would say Sammy's name, Stefano go Samantha. All right, so George says Kyle isn't Jack's son. Oh. Okay, so then that brings a theory if he's not. Is he Tucker's son then? Kyle is Tucker's son? Because that's the only thing that I can think of. That Kyle would be Tucker's son at this point. Like, that's the only thing I'm thinking of in my mind. That Kyle is Tucker's son. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to just add something up here a bit. Give me a minute. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to take care of something here. All right. I think we should be good there. I think we're good. All right. All right. Jakari says, hey, Jakarius. And George says he's thinking that too. Okay. Jakari says, what is y'all talking about? Okay. Jakari, so what we're talking about here is the theme of the night is soap opera characters who have been written into a corner in a sense. And also me and George are talking about right now the possible theory that Kyle is not Jack's son, but Tucker McCall. Now, here's the thing, George. I don't have a problem with that, but they have messed with Kyle's paternity so many times. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted at this point because you have to remember, first it was whether or not Kyle was Victor's son, then he was Jack's son, right? Okay, well, they didn't mess with Kyle's paternity, but the paternity of Kyle and Summer has just been this thing they've been flipping back and forth for a while now, George. Whether or not Kyle and Summer were cousins, whether they were brother and sister, whether or not Kyle was Victor's son, whether or not Summer was Jack's daughter. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. And I just don't know if I could bear it at this point. It would be cool that Kyle and Devon are brothers, but I just don't know if I could bear another rewrite like that because Diane met Tucker McCall years after Kyle had already been born. I don't know if they had a history before that moment in 2011, but from what I know, I think that was their first time really getting enthralled with one another. All right, Jakaria says, I don't watch YNR like that. All right, no problem. I don't think Jakaria, you even watch B&B. I think you're just a Days and GH person, I think. Okay, Jakaria says, DC, I see what you posted. Okay, which part? Because I posted like 20 posts today, I feel like, here on YouTube. Which one? Which one? I feel like I had a couple of them. And then George says, that is true. Yeah, in terms of Kyle and the paternity. I hope not. I hope not. I don't think I could bear it. Okay, Jakari says, I watch B&B too. I'm actually finishing up B&B. You guys can spoil me because I know there's nothing really that much shocking to do. They're trying so hard to push Ridge and Taylor together yet again. And it's just, I would like to see at this point a storyline the three of them could have outside of that whole love triangle. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could see them outside of that. Because Jakari says, the one you said about Annie and Chelsea. Oh, yeah. Okay. I see which one you're talking about. With Annie and Chelsea on not B&B, Annie from All My Children, Chelsea from YNR, obviously played by the same actress, but once again, both roles, Annie McDermott, Lavery, and Chelsea Lawson Newman, both characters being written into a corner, and I'm just not here for it. I'm not here because Chelsea has nothing to do right now in YNR except obsessed about Johnny. They're turning her crazy like they did to Sharon, but the writers justified that by Sharon becoming a coffee therapist. That's what I'm calling her, a coffee therapist. That's what Sharon is, a coffee therapist. Jakari says, ain't nothing to say about it. Yeah, with B&B, there's nothing to say about B&B right now. There's really nothing to say about it. When Carter and Quinn were on and they were finally together, I was like, okay, maybe we can see an actual storyline in regards to that. But I don't know now if we'll get it at this point. I really don't know. Jakari says, I can't wait for 10th Floor podcasts. All My Children upcoming event. Okay, what's in that event? Are they doing reviewing like flashback storylines, interviewing people? What's going on with that? If you know a little bit about it. All right, Jay Chandra says, I liked Crazy Annie. However, Chelsea is getting on my nerves. Okay, you know what? Crazy Annie wasn't so bad. She wasn't so bad, but the thing is with Chelsea and YNR, she's everyone's doormat at this point. She's everyone's doormat. I don't have Twitter, Jakarius. I don't have a Twitter. But just Jay Chandra, Chelsea is everyone's doormat in YNR. That is one of the problems. She's everyone's doormat on that show. Even Adam is stepping all over her, and it's cringy to watch. It's like nobody gives a damn about her. Not 1%. And it's so weird when I heard Adam say to Nick, "Oh, I care about Sally. She matters to me." And I'm like, I'm sure he said the same thing about Chelsea. I'm sure he said the same thing about her, but you don't give a damn about her though. You don't. You don't give a damn about her. You don't give a damn about her. So when I saw that, I was like, now she's going crazy and she's obsessing over Johnny. And I do like that they're finally like revisiting this storyline in a sense with her and Johnny and everything. And if Victoria knew any better, she would allow Chelsea to have a role in their life, because if you remember with Abby, Brad Carlton was her father for the longest time until they finally decided to let me know that, hey, Victor's your father, embrace the Newman side of you. So I mean, you know what? And they finally had Johnny on today with this week. I don't know if he was on prior weeks because I swear I didn't see him. I swear I didn't see him until just now. But they finally had him on. I'm like, okay, finally, we're actually seeing a reaction to this. Because I was like, to me, that was what was missing when the storyline was playing out. I was like, I didn't see no reaction. I don't know if I was too busy in the background doing something, because I'm usually doing something else. I'm watching YNR. So there's not much going on. But I didn't see much of a reaction to that. I didn't see much of a reaction to that. Okay, Jakari says, okay, yeah, I read that. Check on their Twitter. Okay. So Jakari, are they posting this on YouTube? Is Sense4GH posting it on YouTube tomorrow? Do you know? Because I know they usually post on Sundays. Do you know if they're posting? I know after today, guys, I'm taking a 2-week hiatus. You know me. I'm on for 2 weeks. I'm off for 2 weeks. I'm taking a 2-week hiatus after today. A lot of stuff going on. My birthday's coming up, so it's gonna be a bit of a busy month. It's gonna be a busy month. I'm a Libra, guys. Last day Libra, so I'm gonna have a little bit of a busy month here. So because I mean, honestly, I do these videos. It doesn't take too long, but just the timing of it and everything. All right, am I going through everyone's comments here? I think I've sorted through them all. And I think I did like 6 reviews today. Oh my gosh, I had to knock those out. I had a lot of things I wanted to do special effects wise, but I was like, this is gonna make it take twice as long. Let's just post this thing and let's just let it be done. Let's just let it be done. All right, let's see here. All right. Dolomedics, hey, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat, Dolomedics. Am I saying that correctly? Dolomedics? I think I'm saying that correctly. I think so. I think I'm saying that correctly. But anyways, we're talking right now about soap opera characters that have been written into a corner, or where we feel the writing wasn't just that best for them. How do you pronounce it? Are you able to what is the word I'm looking for? There's a term that they use when you spell out how something is pronounced. It's a literary term. I forgot what it's called. But anyways, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But anyways, that's what we're talking about today in terms of soaps. And of course, everything in between. I'm talking about everything in between. I'm on B&B right now. Not much has happened this week. And like I said, B&B, Bold and Beautiful, I always thought because it was a half an hour soap, that's why certain things were in the writing. But like I said, when I've watched Dolomite TCS. Okay, gotcha. Dolomite TCS. Okay, Dolomite TCS. Okay. Dolomite TCS. Gotcha. I think I said that correctly just now. I think I did. Okay, got it. I think I just said it correctly right now. But B&B, like I said, this week, I don't think much, not much. Like I said, I thought when watching it originally, because it was half an hour, that was why the storylines were a certain way, but that's not the case. It's not the case. Like I said, I watch other shows that are half an hour, international soaps. I started to realize it was just B&B. It was just B&B that was like that. And it's not because we're half an hour. Because honestly, most soaps start at half an hour anyways. If they start at half an hour and they merge through time. So, they where they got to expand to an hour because of how good they were. So that had nothing to do with it. That had nothing to do with it at the time. At that particular time. Okay, hold on a second here, guys. Okay, Jakaria says 10-4 podcast is really talking about the memories and moments of all my children. Okay. Then if they're on YouTube, I'll be hopping on. For that. Because a lot of people don't talk that much about All My Children. All My Children, As the World Turns, I feel like are the two soaps I never. Oh, Another World. No one's gonna talk about Another World. They got canceled a long time ago. But really, All My Children and As the World Turns are two soaps I don't hear a lot of soap content creators talk that much about at all, honestly. George says they're not writing at all for Liz, and they could, and Rebecca and the DID storyline could be gold. George, I was really, 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 really hoping they were gonna go the DID route with Blizz. And we could have gotten a cameo from her dad, Jeff Weber, all this stuff coming up, or at least leading to the way for that, maybe towards their 60th anniversary. I was hoping for that. As crazy and cockamamie as it would sound, I was actually hoping they would do a DID storyline, but they chose not to. And now they're going this route where she might have attacked Reiko, Finn's wife. And so we know Finn's wife is coming back to campus. The moment you see a picture of the person's dead spouse, know that person's dead spouse not alive. That's like a soap opera, another soap opera etiquette rule, okay? Number 34, section B, all right? When you see the picture of someone's dead spouse on the show, just know that person's dead spouse is still alive. That's why you get to see the picture, all right? All right. Dolomite TCS says Bold and Beautiful is just lazy writing. Hollyoaks has tons going on and it's 30 minutes. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. I mean, Hollyoaks, there's so many storylines. You know what's crazy? Hollyoaks has a mixture of GH and B&B. B&B with the half-hour format, and then GH with the bloated cast. But Hollyoaks has a huge bloated cast, but you would never notice it. You would never notice it because they just pick up the pace. They pick up the pace. They pick up the pace in the storyline. Like, just as I noticed that DeMarcus hasn't been on in a while, boom, they bring him back. Where GH, when I notice someone hasn't been on, I still don't see them for another week. All right, Jakari says it's next Saturday. Okay. And then Jakari also says As the World Turns was the first soap I watched, in case y'all forgot. It was the number one soap. It was, Jakari. It was As the World Turns was the number one soap for 20 years. I think it was like from the 50s and the 70s. And then Weinar came in and then boom, and this pushed him to the side. What year did you start watching As the World Turns? I first started watching in 06. They had the Oakdale Slasher, Jade. Luke had just came out after Jade was trying to get with Luke, who was her cousin. What else happened that time? James Stenbeck came back, and he was revealed to be Dusty Donovan's father. Based on how I even saw the past clips of Dusty Donovan, they really messed up his character in the most recent. They really jacked up his character. They really jacked it up. Because he was the son. Well, they call him the ward, but he was like the foster son of like Andy somebody. Forgot the guy's name. Because Jakari said 2001 when I was 1 going on 2. Okay. So okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So you were watching As the World Turns from the womb. Your world was turning in the womb. All right, gotcha. All right, Dolomite TCS says Hollyoaks knows and follows the classic soap writing rules. They know how to balance front burner and back burner stories, and things come to a head at different times. They really do. They really do know how to balance their storylines, I think, pretty well in Hollyoaks. I know it's only been 4 months of me watching it, but I can see the contrast right away. And I was watching EastEnders, but EastEnders I watch once in a while. I watch EastEnders, yeah, once in a while. Because Hollyoaks has that typical British soap thing where it's everyday people, but it has the American soap thing of the drama, the explosions, and it's more modern. But I know Hollyoaks is the youngest out of all the British soaps, and that's one of the things I think that's been their advantage because they're younger when they first started. So they had a different approach to the soap opera genre than all the other British soaps had. All right, and Jakari says that's Henry you're talking about. Henry was Maddie's brother, and I believe he might have been the son of James Stenbeck, but Dusty Donovan, I'm talking about Dusty Donovan though too. Dusty Donovan was also, I believe, the son of James Stenbeck, if I'm not mistaken. There was a time where Meg, him, and Paul Ryan, aka Todd Manning, were chasing James Stenbeck off of this balcony. He fell, and this was like in 08. This was like in the last days of the show. Look at me, I said last days of going to church. It's the last days of the show, from what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong though, because you've actually been watching longer than me, Jakari. You've been watching since you were 1 year old. I started watching 06. You started watching 2001. All right. Dolomite TCS. I got the name just confused. So Ottawa 19, Dolomite. So Ottawa 19, how you doing? Hey. All right. Dolomite TCS says Hollyoaks is known as a young, pretty people show. It used to be kind of like 90210 in the 90s. I see that. I can see that. I feel like because it's younger and edgier, it's always going to be able to attract a younger crowd, which that is the issue I see with a lot of soaps. And I've heard some people even say how The Young and the Restless is supposed to be, it's called The Young and the Restless, but everyone that show is so old, not a shade or anything, but it's just kind of like the storylines don't really gear towards a younger audience. And I feel like soap writers, I love that you love your loyal audiences, but remember, there was a time in the 70s where The soap writers right there used their brain and said, we need to bring on younger viewers. And those younger viewers are the older viewers we're going to have today. And that's cool. Keep them. But also keep in mind that you also need to bring in another generation of younger viewers to keep this genre going. And if we don't have that, that's a problem. I don't feel like Guiding Light had that. I don't feel like As the World Turns had that. And I want to say, yeah, I want to say those two shows didn't have that. General Hospital had a mixture of both. They had a good balanced mixture of both, I want to say. They had a good balanced mixture of both. But I don't feel like Guiding Light As the World Turns properly had that at all. I don't feel they properly had that at all. Dolomite TCS says, it's funny that you said that about YNR because I've read a few articles about how they're losing the young part. They are. They really are. I mean, Victor, Nikki, Jack, and there's no, I thought they were going to properly establish a teen scene, a younger audience when they had Reed come on. He was dating Maddie Ashby, and there was a rivalry between him and Charlie, and I liked it. It was actually a really good teen scene. Teen teens I feel like on soaps are not easy to write for. But I feel like they did well young on Weiner at that time. They had Kane, who was having this, this tryst with Victoria. It was edgier at that time, and then now we're back to the same old, same old. And the good storylines are given to Victoria and Victor, and I'm like over it. Like, give me something else to work. I'm over it. George Blackman says, As World Turns could have been on streaming if it stuck around, especially with Reed, Luke, and Noah. They really could have done some things. I agree. They tried it. Do you remember when As World Turns had that thing, the intern thing, where it was like their own little online reality show, I guess, of who was going to win a spot on the show? You guys remember that? It was called Intern. I like that. It was cute. They had cute little stuff back then. I don't know if you remember that. Reed, Luke, and Noah could have really gone somewhere. They could have really gone somewhere. But here's the thing, too, George. You and Jakarius might disagree with me on this, but As the World Turns and Guiding Light had very conservative audiences, in my opinion. Their audience was, if you notice, it was very PG on those shows. You didn't get risque scenes in As the World Turns or in Guiding Light. You just didn't get that. I noticed that after a while. They were just very conservative shows because I noticed there was such an outcry when they even just had Luke and Noah just kiss. Like, that was such a controversial thing for As the World Turns. Whereas on All My Children Would Like to Live in General Hospital, you wouldn't have gotten that because ABC soaps were a little more liberal when it came to stuff like that. All right, Otto 19 says Hollyoaks is darker and edgier. It is. It's definitely a lot of edgy, obviously. Yeah, the American soaps, definitely. Jakaria says As the World Turns YNR in the same universe because Michael Baldwin appeared in an episode. Yes, he did. He came to Oakdale. Also, Jakaria, don't forget, well, you already know, where Allison and Emily Stewart came to Genoa City to help Amber Moore with the plan that she had to swindle Kane because she thought Kane was Jill's son, like he was a real Philip Chancellor. So, because if you notice when they brought Philip Chancellor back, they said that he faked his death because he was gay. Stupidest thing I ever saw in YNR. So stupid. How many guys, raise your hand if you remember that stupid episode, that stupid storyline YNR where Philip Chancellor III, I believe it is Chance's father, said he faked his death because he was gay. Stupidest thing I ever saw in the soap. Stupidest thing. All right. Auto 19 said, is Hollyoaks on streaming? Hollyoaks is on all four, and it's also online as well. There's one of the platforms. I can't say their names, so I can't have y'all blow up my spot. Well, I can say their name because I can watch it on all four on VPN. I watch it on dailymotion.com. Dailymotion.com is where I watch Hollyoaks, and it's in full HD, no zoom, none of that. So dailymotion.com, you got to type in Hollyoaks and the date of the show. Jakaria says, yes, I heard about it. Okay, in terms of Allison, Allison going to Genoa City. George Blackman says, yes, true. Jakaria said, that is so true. And Jakaria says, yes, I remember that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, in terms of that with Guiding Light, everything, because CBS Daytime was very conservative. I mean, As the World Turns did have the first gay character or whatever, I guess you could say, but they didn't really do nothing with that. They did nothing with that. It was ABC Daytime that gave the edgier stuff. CBS Daytime didn't do those things. I mean, even on Guiding Light, it was hard to get a sex scene in. It was a very conservative show, very conservative. Dolomite TCS says, I remember when As the World Turns did a campus crawl gimmick one year and had some of their young characters on their run. They went to real colleges to film. Oh my God, I remember that. That was in 06, right? That was 06, 07, right? I remember that. It's kind of coming back to me a little bit. Okay, Dolomite TCS says Hollyoaks is on Hulu, but it's behind a bit. It's good if you want to watch old episodes. Okay, yeah. Dolomite, I forgot about Hulu. You're right about that. Hulu's another one. I think they're like a week or so behind. But if you don't mind me a week behind, and as long as you stay away from spoilers on YouTube, you'll be good. You'll be good with that. Jakaria says As the World Turns was so conservative. Yes, they were. Super conservative for sure. I noticed that. I really did start to notice how conservative they were as a show. Because that Luke and Noah kiss, oh my God, that's some people in like a tailspin. Like, Oh my God. But then again, you had One Life to Live where Cole was pretending to be Marco's boyfriend at the gay pride event, and Dorian was supposedly gay when she was dating this woman who had the spirit of her dead husband in her One Life to Live, and she was running for mayor. It was a trip. It was a trip. But see, as it returns, you wouldn't see that. Nah, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't, their audience isn't ready for that. This is why I say in The Young and the Restless, they gave you guys Mariah and Tessa, but it's breadcrumbs. That's all they gave you was breadcrumbs. They're not gonna do it with Mariah and Tessa. They're not. I would be shocked if they did. They're not gonna do nothing. They gave you a wedding for you guys to cheer and have fanfare about. We haven't seen nothing since that wedding now, have we? Not a damn thing. All right. All right. Dolomite TCS says, yes, yep, I remember because I was in college at the time and I was hoping they would come to my school. Okay, all right, all right. They did a lot of fun stuff with soaps back in the day. They don't do that anymore. Do you guys even remember when ABC had Super Soap Weekend? Do you guys remember that? The Super Soap Weekend they had on ABC? Where, and I'd never forget, the stars of General Hospital came to the mall in my city. They came to the mall, and those events at that time were not tight on security like they probably would be now. Like it was very open sesame to the public. It was very, very open sesame. So, but we don't get stuff like that now anymore. Jakari says, and Allison too. Okay. Allison. Oh yeah, Allison. Yeah, okay. Allison too. Gotcha. Daryl said, I did not like the Lucas Gay story on GH. Why is that, Daryl? What was it about it specifically you didn't like about it? Tell me about that. Jakari says, yeah, I remember that. And then Jakari says, do you remember Soap Talk on SoapNet? Yes, I do. I do remember Soap Talk on SoapNet with Lisa Rinna and Ty Treadway. I do remember that. SoapNet was such a good network. And it's such a shame because I feel like SoapNet was super ahead of its time. It's a shame. It's a shame. SoapNet really, it kept the genre alive. You knew SoapNet was good at the time when it first came out. I think it was 01, 02, because it showed you how much people really cared about soaps that they made a whole network dedicated to soaps. It shows you about that. Now that's not there anymore because people don't care about soaps anymore. People don't have time to watch 5 days a week during the day and all that good stuff, as you guys already know. Dolomite TCS says they don't market soaps nearly as well as they used to. I remember I partially started watching CBS soaps because they had really exciting commercials. Just the commercials, that's it. Just the commercials. Because I got hooked into the ABC soaps first. That was my first introduction, and then I started seeing Y&R and B&B and As Well Turns and Guiding Light. Now, I gotta say, for some reason, I don't know what it is, I prefer Guiding Light over As Well Turns, for whatever reason it was. And I feel like most PG Procter & Gamble fans would agree on that reason. But I know Jakari stands 10 toes down for As Well Turns, and we need people to stand 10 toes down for it. Because I feel like nobody's advocating for that show no more. Daryl Taylor says the way how it was written. Okay, so Daryl, tell me, what was it, how it was written? Was it the storylines? Was it the cheesy stuff you feel like the show wasn't ready for, just didn't work overall? Like, or whatever you feel comfortable sharing in regards to that. Jakari says, what is your least favorite soap openings? You got to tell us, DC. Okay. I know what my favorites are, so I can tell you my least favorite soap openings were. Let me see. The B&B opening that we have right now, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I know everybody loves it. Everybody thinks it's glamorous. I hate it. And I understand that was the original opening for B&B, but I hate the one that we have now because the B&B opening that we had back in 04 with the whole dun 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 dun, and then it had the little model, and then she would be like this, and then she would be like this, and the photographer go like this in the intro. That was a B&B I got introduced to, and that opening was everything. Then after that, they did the whole fashion show opening, which was all right. But that opening with the whole the model would like do like this, and the photographer would like that. That was one of the best openings. Okay, but you said my least favorite openings. But yeah, I told you my least favorite one is the current B&B opening. That's my least favorite. This Y&R opening they have now, I don't really like it. I wish they would have stayed with the original opening, with the way they had like the little silhouette, the pictures behind the person and their face, but just with updated visuals, but not what they're doing now. It feels cheap. The GH intro right now, it's okay, but it feels cheap because we know GH. Come on, during 06, you guys remember that GH opening? Who remembers that? And the whole da-na-na-na-na, da-da-da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Come on now. That GH opening through '04 to like, what was it, '08 was epic. It was epic. And then you got up in the end where Luke would get up in the end. It was like all the men in the General Hospital, and then at the end of that opening, and then Luke would get up and they go, da-na-na. Come on now, that was epic. But the GH opening right now, it's piss poor. It's very piss poor. Days' opening, I like it. The problem is they shortened it. They really shortened it because I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was right before 2011. The Days opening, you would literally see the hourglass turn and turn. And you would see the sands, and you would keep turning until it reached daylight. Now they don't have that anymore. It's just like it's automatically daylight, and they just say essentially hourglass or the days of our lives, and that's it. So that was one for me. That was one for me. Let me make sure I respond to you guys. Sorry about guys. I'm so into Jakari's question right now. All right. Dolomite TCS says the best gay storyline was Bianca and All My Children. Yes, I agree with that. I see them all, and I think Bianca's has done the best. I agree with that. Dolomite TCS says, oh, that was Daryl. So Daryl said that. Sorry, Daryl said that. Dolomite TCS says, I used to jokingly call CBS commercials the sexy couch commercials because they always had the actors looking dramatic on the couch. Oh, don't forget the turn off the light, guiding light. For the 90s, that was so cheesy. All right, Dolomite TCS also says, I love the B&B Fashion Open. I got to say, I love Hollyoaks opening. Hollyoaks does have the best opening. It does. Out of all the British soaps after EastEnders, it's the best. Coronation Street and Emmerdale's openings are kind of eh. All right, Auto19 says, do you know EDP 445? No, I do not. Who's that? You got to tell me who's that. Jakari says, for me, it's the Oswald Torres opening from 2007 and Guiding Light 2003-2005. Cheap intro. Reminds you of Will and Grace. You know what, Jakari's, I didn't mind the Guy Light intro from 2003, 2005. You know, their whole, at the end, and then at the end of that Guy Light intro, it would like segue into the scene. It was cheap, but I was okay with it. The Oswald Tones opening for 2007. Okay, are you talking about the Oswald Tones opening 2007 where they had the globe thing where they would show Allison and Luke and then Lucinda and Craig, and then it would be like the golden globe behind them? Or are you talking about the little cheap one where it just had Oswald Turns with a little globe in the center and that was it? No music, like barely any music, anything. Because that one showed you they stopped giving a damn about the show at that point. I think that was like the last opening, 2009. That showed you they stopped giving a damn about the show. They stopped giving a damn. It was just like, da-na-na-na, boom. It's terrible. It's terrible. All right. Daryl Taylor says, just look at the difference between Luke's story on Oswald Turns and Luke's story on GH. One was good and one was not. True. Luke's story on Oswald Turns is a lot more better, a lot more in depth. Lucas's story in GH, I just came to GH around that time, but it was done very topsy-turvy. And I feel like the storyline was really about Maxie. They made it about Maxie the whole time. The man gets gay bashed and made it about Maxie. And Carly was barely in that storyline. Lucas is her brother, and she's barely in that storyline. All right. Dolomite TCS says the worst opening has to be the One Light to Live opening when they went online. Oh, brand new star. It's a brand new heart. One life to live. With Snoop Dogg? You remember that Snoop Dogg? Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Dolomite, you just brought me back to that Hulu opening they had on One Life to Live. It was a little, it was rough. It was a little rough for me. Our Jakari says, I remember when ABC changed their opening in 2004. I said, why they are in the same backdrops. What do you mean by that last part? Why they're in the same backdrops? I did say they all changed their opening in 2004. All My Children had one of the best openings. I'm not gonna lie. Like that opening in 2004, 2008 with that photo album, it was epic. The orchestra, it was epic. Oswald Turns, the blue opening and the gold opening they had from 2002 to 2006, epic. Guiding Lights opening in 2005, 2007, epic. Another epic one. Days of Our Lives before they shortened the intro was also epic as well. All right, let me see here. Sorry, I'm trying to finish. Let me read through these here, guys. Bear with me. Auto19 says, do you think soap operas need a child predator storyline? They've done it before. I don't think it would work today. Oh, snap. Sorry, I just adjust my camera. Whoops, sorry about that, guys. I don't think it would work today, Auto19. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work today. It's too sensitive a topic. I I'm all for soaps telling social storylines, but it wouldn't work today. I don't think it would work. Not with their type of audience. It wouldn't work today. I don't think so. Jakari says that was 2010 DC. I remember that. Yeah, the cheap Asbro turns open. Jakari said at that point in time, you could tell they stopped giving a damn about the show. And then Guiding Light had the whole only love can save the world. Only love, yes, only love. I was just like, what is this? Oh my god. What the heck is this? Like, what are y'all doing? What is this? Okay, Daisy Flower says all my children had a child person storyline. Yes, they did. And Young and the Restless had one too with Kevin and Lily. Kevin and Lily as well. Jakarius says both of them. All right. And then Dolomite TCS says Auto 19, you should check out the UK soaps that utilize a lot of the dark stuff you like. Okay. Oh, see, Dolomite's catching on Auto 19. I ain't catching on. I ain't catching on. All right. All right. Daryl says, I love to see them bring back Sheila's other kids and have Finneas, half sisters, Mary Daisy, and half brother Ryder and his niece Lucy. Daryl, I agree with you because they're acting like Sheila doesn't have no other kids. She's got like 10,000 kids. Why is she so fixated on Finn? She's got other 20 other thousand kids, but Brad Bell does not like acknowledge that part of her history. But it's all good. It's all good. Okay, Dolomite TCS said the Hulu opening had a coordinated dance if they were at a wedding, someone's wedding reception, right? When you had Bo and Nora go like this when they were dancing. It kind of reminds me when you're at like a wedding, and you see the groom or the bride's parents doing cheesy dancing because they're just so into the moment. That's what it reminds me of. So you're right about that. Shakira, hey Shakira, how you doing? Shakira says she misses GH's old theme song. Shakira, I'm with you. I was just singing it earlier. The bum 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 bum. All right, Jakari says, "Well, I like to look at their 2004 opening to the end." Yeah, because it was good. I don't think there was any need for them to touch it, but just to, like, update the visuals. But I don't think there was any need for them to touch it at all. I don't think so either. Adam 19 says, "I would rather have a serial killer storyline over a Chopper storyline." You know, we have that here. We have that here in our shows, but it's not the best. Not the best. And I agree. I think that would be better. Jakarius says, "I hated when they shortened their opening in 2010." I agree. I hated that too. It felt very cheap to me that they did that. You know, I missed the whole when it was dun, 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 like sands through the hourglass, and it would go so more slowly, and you would see the sands pour down. So are the days of our lives. All right, and Jakaria says, "DC, I'm talking about days of our lives." With the hold on a second. Okay, I got you, Cars. I got you. Hold on a second. Auto 19 says serial killers are always better than Chopper storylines. Daisy Flower 40 says these kids don't want anything to do with Sheila. Those kids don't want anything to do with Sheila. They don't. But I would like some kind of revisiting that storyline in some ways. Hey Shakira, so you saying hi to me? How you doing? George says that was a horrible guideline opening theme song. You just mentioned DC. I was like, what is this? Do you remember? Only love kids. And the guy would go, only love. Everybody needs hope. Everybody needs light. Everybody's feet are on the ground and heads in the sky. What? What the heck? I was like, what the heck is this? And they started like a little YouTube series. I was like, what the heck is this? What is this? All right, Jakari says, I was referring to Aswell Turn when they changed their opening in 2007, then shortened that year. Yes, no, Jakari. I was also mentioning that as well, too, the shortened Aswell Turns opening where it just like, when they would go to the intro, it would just say, bing! It would just show the intro, it would just show the name Aswell Turns, the little cheap $2 globe in the center, and that was it. I know what you're talking about. Shakira says, hi, DC. Oh, yeah, I acknowledge Shakira. Dolomite TCS says, I did like that final Aswell Turns theme music. Which one, Dolomite? Which one? All right, Jakari says, I like the All My Children scrapbook opening in 2002, 2004. Yes, All My Children always was pretty, they had a coherent theme with their openings. It changed, but it was always the same thing, except the last opening they had. I felt like we're trying to get edgier. It didn't work. But I mean, they still kept the same song, but the visuals are extremely different in a way. It wasn't the photo album anymore. Like it was, but it wasn't. All right. Shakira says GH theme right now is lame. It is. And then the whole cheap scrapbook flipping through. They know they could do better than that. They know they could do better than that. Come on, y'all can do better than that. Y'all can do better than that. Come on, come on. I've seen web series do better. Come on, and y'all got a whole budget. It's like I feel like they keep saying about the budget and everything, but like sometimes like it's the creativity for me that's just not there. You know. All right, George says Guideline knew they were gone after that mess of a song. Only love. Everybody feels low. Everybody feels high. That guy like theme song was such a mess, George. It was a mess. And then they had that bootleg YouTube look. And I understand As World Turns did it too. But As World Turns kept that for their outdoor scenes only. They didn't put that for every single scene. Because I was watching Guy Light, I was like, this doesn't even look like a soap anymore. This looks like something that somebody did on YouTube in 20 minutes. Like, and I understand Ellen Wheeler thought it was gonna be edgy and fun, but it wasn't. And I get it; she was trying to save the show, but I don't feel like you needed to. I don't think that was necessary. I don't know. I couldn't. I was hard for me to watch Guy Light at that time. It was very hard because it wasn't so much about the storyline, but you changed the visual aesthetic of the show, to which to me was just super drastic in my ears. It was super not in my ears, to my eyes. It was super drastic in my eyes. Very drastic for me to see, and it just felt so bootleg to me. Like I'm like, what is this? This is television. They let you guys. Who approved this? All right, Shakira Pickett says, "I know, right?" Okay, Shakira, so you were watching GH God like two, or one of those two you were watching. I see. You can say, "I know, right?" Shakari says, "I had to find out they remixed their 1994 theme for that scrapbook opening." Yes, Shakari, I found that out too. That's why I said all my children kept pretty much all their songs and their visual aesthetics somewhat pretty much coherent with the photo album thing. That was their theme, just like how Daisy's theme was an hourglass thing. At this point, I don't think Daisy would mess with it because I don't think viewers could accept it at this point. If they were ever going to mess the opening days, they should have done a long time ago. Now I don't think nobody would accept it. Dolomite TCS says the GH opening credits were thrown together by an unpaid intern on their laptop one weekend. That's what it felt like too. Because honestly, I feel like anybody could have done that. It didn't feel that unique of an opening, honestly. And I don't know if they're trying to have that appeal to an edgier crowd, or it's just maybe it's easier for them to have it that way if they need to take someone out. Because I remember in the GH one they had in 2004, 2008, that theme song went on for years. But then again, I thought they wanted to take people out. They could have, because they did. When they had Laura Wright coming as Carly, they took out the old Carly, put her in, and insert her in. So they could do what they want to. I feel like. Um, Lisa Del Pecci. Hey, Lisa. Like Depeche Mode. Am I saying that correctly? Why does One Hour take long to update the opening theme? Because they don't have to. They're number one. They don't have to. That's why they don't have to. I mean, what do you think about their current opening theme song, Lisa? Do you like it? Do you feel like it's? Do you think it's good? Like the new. I mean, the song hasn't changed, but the visuals. What are your thoughts on it? Because I gotta be honest, I'm not feeling it. All right, Jakari says, name your top favorite soap openings. Okay, my top favorite soap openings. All My Children, which is 2004 to 2007. One Life to Live, 2004 to its before it went online. General Hospital, 2004 to 2009. Passions. You are my passion for life. Guiding Light, 2005 theme song. Not the cheap PowerPoint one they had before, but right after that, with all dun 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 dun. As It Returns, 2002, 2007. Bold and Beautiful, 2004 to 2007. That theme song was good, with the model and the photographer flashing and all that stuff. That was good. Days of Our Lives. I think I'm on 7 or 8 right now. Um, I'm trying to think who else. Port Charles, A Gift. That was another one. So I remember like number 9. And I need one more to put on this list here for you. What's one more I can put on this list? Search for Tomorrow, their last opening. You got to search for Tomorrow and see the last opening to know what I meant by all that. All right. Dolomite TCS says Guiding Light was so tough to watch towards the end. I was watching it in '97 when they had a budget. Dolomite, I could only understand how it must have felt for you, because seeing the aesthetics of it was just terrible. They had Montel Williams coming in that show. They had him come into that mess. All right, Auto 19 says soap operas are the best back in the late 90s and early 2000s. They were. And I want to add something to your guys' last two comments, Auto 19 and Dolomite TCS. I don't feel like it's so much of the budget, though. I really don't want to sit here and say it's the budget, because I feel like the budget can only be so far. It's the lack of creativity. So it makes me wonder, did they rely so much on props and those things to tell the story? I mean, even like the music, we don't even have music in the soaps. Now I'm not talking about singers or songs. Like, when characters will walk in the room, they would have like a little theme song was like announce their presence. Or when something dramatic happened, you would hear like the tense music and start to play. We don't get that anymore. Those things play a part in telling a story. If you notice, they make a huge difference. Like even when Sonny had confronted Claudia in front of the whole room on GH, you could hear the song in the background, dun 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 dun. Like you could hear that. It set the tone, beyond just the words and the line. All those things play collaborative effort. We don't have that no more. All right. All right. Daryl Taylor says, because I liked how I'm bold and beautiful when Hope told Liam about Sheila's other kids, because I think it would have gotten along with Mary and he would have loved meeting Lucy. I mean, I thought they should bring Sheila's kids on, but they're not going to do it. This is the the Bridge, sorry, the Brook and Ridge show. And I believe their international audiences love Brook and Ridge. That's why we have to keep seeing them. Even though we keep telling time again, we're not feeling it. All right. Jakaria says that GH opening 2004 had lasted till February 2010 when they switched up to that new FOTH opening. Front of the house opening. Yeah, I remember they did that. The whole dun dun dun, and had Epiphany in the opening. It was all right. It worked for me for a little bit. Shakira says YNR got that Mary J. Blige No More Play. She sampled their song, and she sampled the YNR theme song. They gave her the rights to sample it, and that No More Pain. Time you're playing games with my mind. No more drama in my life. All right, Dolomite says, did you watch Sunset Beach back in the day? So Dolomite, I'm actually on episode 4 of Sunset Beach right now. Actually, I'm actually watching Sunset Beach now. They're opening right now. The opening they had after that wasn't feeling it, but the opening they had right then, that was good. That was soapy. That was a good soap opening. All right, Jakari says the 2004 BB opening lasted to 2010. Oh, and the Jakari says after that I meant 2011. Jakari says, when I first watched Guiding Light, I remember that Hold On to Love show opening. Hold on to love. All right. Jakari says Face to the Heart. Lisa says, I do like their YNR theme song in the opening. The last one they used clips of episodes. Yeah, I don't know. I like the last one better, to be honest. It felt more unique. It had more characters in my eyes. This one feels cheap. Daryl says, my favorite soap villains are Stefano, Sheila, James, Mitch, and Carlo, Helena, Carmen on Guiding Light, Helena, Ray Gardner. Who are you going that line? Billy, Clyde, Tuggle, and Adam, and Carl on Another World. Carl, if I remember Another World, he was dating, wasn't he the one who was married to Josie? And they're both cops? Right? Not talking about Pauline, but the one who's married to Josie. They tried to adopt a child and it didn't work out. Another World. Stefano's, of course, hands down the best villain all time. Sheila, I'm just kind of over her as a villain. James Stenbeck, I think you're talking about with the whole let me do this thing. Hello, Barbara. All right, we got Carlo Hester, Helena Castine, Carmen the Guiding Light. She was a good villain. She was a good matriarchal villain. Then you're mentioning Helena, obviously Castine again, right? Ray Gardner on All My Children, who was Tad's bio father. Billy Clyde Tuggle, who I believe is also On My Children as well. And Adam Carl Another World. Okay, gotcha. Dolomite TCS says Daryl Taylor, Carmen Santos was an amazing one. She was. There was nothing like Carmen Santos. She was. That was a mafiosa at their finest. All right. George Blackman said, I love Passions, but that girl singing You're My Passion for Life was too much to listen to. Was it really? Breathe in, breathe out. You are my passion for life. Okay. But it was unique. It was the last song to have like a song in their intro. Um, SC Nonaful says that I missed the part where you guys talked about characters being written into a corner. If I did, are you keeping this live up? Hey, you're still able to tell us. We you know how it is on the lives. We get into one subject, get into another, but you're still able to tell us if there's any soap characters you feel like were written into a corner. I gave my take earlier, which was Chase Jennings from Days, Andy McDermott, All My Children, and Chelsea Newman from The Young and the Restless. But what are some of yours? You can tell us what some of yours are as well. Um, Daryl says Carl was married to Rachel Corey. Oh, that Carl. That's right. I got the names confused. That's right. That's right. And Carl and Rachel had the twins. Okay, all right. There's so many shows to keep up with, Daryl. So you just gotta excuse me on that. I get confused sometimes. Okay, don't mind such a thing of Gary. Another word. Ah, that's what it was, Gary. Ah, thank you, Dolomite. Thank you, Dolomite TCS. Thank you. All right, Jakar says, DC, which guy or woman would you marry? You mean from a soap? Which? Okay, it can be any type of soaps. I think I said this before. If I was on a soap, one of the current four, I guess make it more relevant. I would marry Michael Quartermain from GH. Young and the Restless would be Nick Newman. Bold and Beautiful, Thomas Forrester. Um, Days of Our Lives, Eli Grant. Eli Grant. All right. Dolomite TCS says Daryl Taylor. Yep, Carl Hutchinson was a great villain too. Um, and he got a little reformed towards the end, if I'm not mistaken. But he had this weird thing going on. There was a guy that was working for him who fell in love with Amanda. Um, Auto 19 says soap operas have a porn storyline. They did. They did with Misty Circle, with Nicole when her porn star passed, with Kate porn star passed. They've had a lot of those. They've had a lot of those. Jakar says I hated Chase Jennings. You know, Chase Jennings had so much promise in the beginning, but they wrote that boy into a corner. That actor was pissed. He blasted the show after that, which I understand because he probably wanted to stay on the show longer. He didn't like how they wrote him because I understand why actors are so sensitive to how they're written, how they're portrayed on the show because how do I put this? And Jeannie Francis said that she wouldn't play a victim anymore in GH, which I understood because you got to look at it this way. It is just acting. But think about this every day. If you're on a soap set for 12 hours playing a victim, you have to think like a victim, act like a victim. And I know it's just acting. And for us as viewers, it seems very harmless. But think about the repetition that puts into your brain every single day when you're playing a certain type of role for 12 hours a day. And I know we would think some people it's easy for them to turn off, but is it really? You know, when you think about it, honestly, I'm not trying to get all deep about it, but when you really think about it. Okay, Dolomite says, I don't 19, Nicole's a porn star in Days. That's part of her backstory. Yep. Dolomite also says, which Thomas Forrester? You got options. They had like 15 adult Thomases. The current one, the current Thomas, sorry, the current one. Daryl says, James Stenbeck, Carla Hester, and Stefano are my favorite villains. Carla Hester, maybe because I just wasn't around to see much of him, but he never stood out to me as a villain. He never did. James did. James did, especially when James came back. He did. Even when Carl Hustle came back, he didn't really stand out to me for some reason. He didn't. Stefano did. Stefano had a backstory. Stefano had an entourage. Stefano was how you make a villain on a show. They took like all that primetime villain stuff and put it into Stefano. He had a backstory. He was a legend. He was a myth. He was the Phoenix. He couldn't die. And I said it, but this is one of my reviews. If you look at Days closely, they have reincarnated Stefano multiple times, even though the actor who plays Stefano is gone, but they still reincarnated the character of Stefano. When he was Stevano with the microchip, when he now as Stefan O. Demira, Jake Demira, Renee Dumont, when she was in Sarah's Mind, the Princess Gina. These are ways that Stefano is still reincarnated. So Stefano technically still has not died, in my mind. In my mind, the Phoenix is still alive. All right. SC Noniful says, are all the characters you would marry the next generation of a rich family? Okay, that wasn't the intention. I did say Eli Grant. Eli Grant is not part of a rich family. You know, that wasn't the intention, but I look at personality wise and other things. But no, I feel like I feel like that's what I would go with. And I guess to give an alternative, let's say if it's not Michael, then it would be. Who else would it be? Chase. It would be Chase. If it wasn't, who did I say for wine? Or again, I can't remember who I said for wine. If it wasn't Nick, it would be Devon. Devon's also a billionaire too. That's not my intention. That's not my intention. If it wasn't Thomas, then it would be. If it wasn't Thomas, what else would it be? Maybe Finn. Maybe Finn. If it wasn't Eli Grant, it would be Johnny Demira. Johnny Demira. But there's a reason. But there's a particular reason why I marry each one of those I married. Because if I was married to Michael Corinthos, you gotta understand, I would have the protection of Corinthos Coffee. I'd have the Metro Court because I know Carlos gonna get the Metro Court back. I would have the Quartermains behind me. I'd have access to General Hospital through Monica, my grandmother-in-law. It's got to be strategic. You got to think. All right. Jakari says, I thought they wrote Lucas to the corner on GH, right? Or on Days, would you say? All right, Dolomite TCI says, I actually saw Rena So for an interview last week, and she said she refused to let them make Quinn a gold digger on B&B. So I read about the actor thing. Yes, Dolomite, I saw that too. Because actors are very sensitive about the type of roles they play. This is why Maurice Bernard does not want to play a psychopathic mobster anymore. That's considered the lovely, that's loved by, endured by the old town. It's messing with his mind. I can kind of see that. When you're playing a role every day, it messes with your mind. Sometimes some people don't know how to break from that reality. At times, they don't know how to. Like, there was a fan, the guy who played Drake, John Black on Days. His character was like possessed for like 2 seconds. It was like in 2006, 2004. John was possessed or by some tarot card by EJ Demira, and a fan came to his house to attack him. It was a soap opera digest. He got attacked. The fan actually thought he was really possessed. And sometimes some people can't separate the two from reality. Like even the 90s, remember people watched Martin and Martin? We all thought Martin and Gina were a real couple. I thought that too. That's why media and images, it's very, some people, I understand for some people it's not that deep, but and at times it's not for me either, but I can see that other aspect to it, because even when Ginny Francis says there's nothing in her that will play a victim anymore, why I think Laura's now the mayor? Why I think Ginny Francis is getting these breaks on GH? Because Laura has always been a victim on that show. She has, until she had to stand up and say something and say, look, I can't be written like this no more. I can't be written as a damsel in distress anymore. This is not working for me. And I get it. SC Notable says that personally Maurice's wish to change Sonny is understandable given his mental issues spoken on. Yes, that too. Because I don't necessarily know how it is having bipolar disorder, but I wonder if sometimes there's a cognitive dissonance that could be physically or physiologically affecting him to not being able to differentiate Sonny from Maurice. Or there's something I wonder. Dolomite TCS says, now Eli has that Horton money. They're richer than they look. Dolomite, I don't feel like the Hortons are that rich. I don't feel like they got too much money. And I know Eli has no access to it. I don't think they got too much money. All right, Lisa says, Lucas will be back. He was redeemed in the end. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, Lucas on Days, yeah. The Lucas will always be the better match sending the EJ, but EJ will be the love of Sammy's life. Daryl Terrell said, I was watching the Janet Green saga from On My Children YouTube the other day. Oh, did you see the episode where Janet was looking in the mirror and she saw her reflection talking back to her, and the reflection's like, you better do it. You better do it. And she's like, no. That was good. It was good. That was good. That was a good storyline. SC Noniful says, LOL, I didn't mean to call you a gold digger. No. I know you weren't calling me a gold digger. I know that. I know you were calling me a gold digger. I know that. Jakari says, I love me some Johnny. You should ODC. Johnny has a good heart. He has that bad boy style, but he has a good heart. And the people that I picked are strategic, because it's like, you want to be part of a powerful family, but you want somebody who is going to treat you right in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do right by you. Gotta be with someone who's going to do right by you. Right? And that's why I would pick Michael Corinthos, the third. All right? Michael Corinthos the third, aka Michael Quartermain, as I call him. All right? Because you get the protection of Sonny. You get the protection of the whole town marrying Michael. Think about that for a second. And his grandmother is on the board of GH. I get access to GH right there. Come on, I own the whole town. I own half the town at that point. You know what I'm saying? All right. Jakari says, I guess I would have those Demira shares. Okay, all right. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want to be married to no Demira. I'm good off of that. I don't want to be married to Demira. I don't get shot or end up in the tunnel. That's why I said Eli Grant. I need the protection of Salem PD on my behind with the Hortons. I need that protection right there. I don't want no Demiras. That's too much of a crazy family to marry into. All right. Jakari says both of these shows DC about the two Lucases. Hold on, let me go back and see your comment then. Okay, you know what? That's true. I can see that. With the Lucas on GH, he never really left Canvas though. And it's weird because Brad is back. We could have scenes, but they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. All right, Dolomite says, I heard Roger Howard had to leave One Life to Live for a while because he couldn't deal with being a sex offender character. See? I can understand that. Because Paul Ryan wasn't really any of those things. It is hard. Like, even Anthony Geary plays Luke. I feel like that's part of the reason why he left GH, because his character was so loved, but then as people started to be aware as time went on, he started to realize his character's been written into a corner. Luke is written into a corner. Luke is always gonna be a deadbeat. There's no way to revive Luke's character, and it sucked because he was one of the his character was one of the greatest, and now not so much anymore. And that's got to be hard when you know that's not who you are in real life, but you know how people see you. So I remember the actress who plays Phyllis. She was on JLJ Media's Live. It was like months ago, and she said that the roles they gave her to say, she said them in a sweet tone because she didn't want to be seen as like the angry black woman towards her husband or something like that. So she said, even though I have to say these lines, I'm going to execute them differently than probably what they have in mind how they want me to say it. If that makes sense to you guys. Daryl Taylor says, how do you think Stefano would have felt about both Stefan and Jake? Stefano had a love and affinity for Chad that he doesn't really have for Chad and Elvis. Tony and everybody else is disposable as hell. It's Stefano's eyes. I think Stefano would have embraced him. Stefano of the past, of the 90s and early 2000s, oh no. Yeah, they would be like henchmen to him. But I think he would have embraced it. As long as he could, if they were groomable. If they were groomable, he could groom them, he would embrace them. Jakari says, which sub-actor do you want to meet? I don't have a particular one I meet. I did meet Victoria Rowell, who plays Drusilla in The Young and the Restless when I was 12. So I feel like I've lived pretty much a good soap life, a good soap fan life. But I don't have a particular one. What about you? I don't really have a particular one, to be honest. It comes right to my mind. I don't. Lisa says, I didn't like what GH with AJ character. They kept him in drunk. You know, when they brought him back in 2012, they had so much chance to do something different with AJ, and they chose not to. So what are you going to do? Daryl says, Roger Howe has always had trouble playing characters, Todd, Paul, and Franco. And the worst part about Daryl is that he wasn't meant to play Franco in the first place. That's the worst part about it. He wasn't meant to play Franco. And I feel like when he was playing Todd and GH, we were finally looking beyond that history he had. This is worse. Okay, Daisy Flower says Kristen was his favorite. She was, because Kristen is actually an adopted child of Stefano. I want to say Stefano loved Peter too, and Benji. Well, Stefano didn't care about Benji. Benji was really loved by Steve and Kayla. He was really their son. I mean, not biologically, but Benji was really their son in a way, you know? And Steve and Kayla really loved and adored Benji. But Stefano was like, you know, he was disposable. He was disposable in Stefano's eyes. And Stefano did the same thing to Lexi. I would feel scared to have a father like Stefano. I mean, I'm sure if you're a grandchild of Stefano DiMera, he'll keep you safe for a little bit, but those DiMeras, I don't know. I don't know about those DiMeras. I don't know about those DiMeras, y'all. I don't know. I'd be with a Kyriakis before I'd be with a DiMera. You know, that's how I would do it. All right, and Dolomite TCS said, well, Stefano loved Alexandra. Or as Celeste would say, Alexandra. You guys remember when Celeste would come on in 06 and she would always say to Sammy, Samantha, there's only one way to get rid of Elvis. Oh, gosh. Okay, Daisy Flower 40 says, Stefano did love the Blakes, Peter and Kristen. He also loved Lexi. He did. He really did. He really did. Maybe Peter Blake is still alive. Who knows? And maybe he could be the one to have an affair with Jennifer right now while she's going through all this. Kind of soapy. I don't know. Maybe Jennifer has a secret child that she gave birth to, and under amnesia, Peter Blake took the child and raised it off as his own. And she has her DiMera child. All right. Jakari says, I want to meet Carson Boatman so much. Okay, all right. Yeah, you stand 10 toes down on Carson. Carson Boatman, I think he's actually one of the best additions to Days. See, this is the thing with Days, the actors, they give in every scene. Everybody is very dynamic in their own ways. And I do want to see Johnny and Ava together. I do like that. I do like the idea of that. George Blackman says, remember that. Remember that. Remember which part, George? Or about the Celeste thing I mentioned, or the thing with the Blakes? Which part would you say in terms of that? Which part would you say in that? Dude, I've been on for an hour and 14 minutes. Look at me, guys. I'm going to give y'all 10 more minutes. Because I've been rocking with me for a while, and I appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys rocking with me on this live. Because I'm going to be taking a 2-week hiatus after today. I got to take some breaks. I got to take some breaks. All right, so I just got a comment I'm reading on one of my posts. Someone says Mike's last name is Corbin. Sonny took his mother's maiden name as his last name because he hated his father for abandoning him and his mother. Ah, got it. But then how is he a junior? That's my question. How is he a junior? All right. We'll figure that out later. I'm gonna come respond to them in a minute. All right. Dolomite TCS says, I thought they were gonna swerve and make Gwen Peter's kid on Days. That would have been awesome. Oh, well. Well then. Mm. Which would make her a Demira. I would give her some shares. Gwen needs something. Gwen don't got nothing behind her. She needs something. Good lord. At least if she's a descendant of Peter Blake, she gets some shares. Okay, Jakari says Days have some good looking men. Yes, they do. They sure do. Oh, George says Celeste. Yes, Celeste. I remember when they had that Celeste recast in 2010. I don't know what that. I don't. The actress, I'm sure she was great, but she just wasn't Celeste for me. She wasn't Celeste. That recast they had, but I get it. They needed to, but it didn't work for me. All right, Daisy Flower says Days acting is 50-50. Some are good and some are hard to watch. Which is hard to watch for you, Daisy? Would you say for the acting? Jakari says I'm just enjoying shirtless scenes on Days. Yeah, Days is bringing it. Jakari says, who was your least favorite Passions characters? I'm gonna say Teresa, even though she was pretty much the whole focus of the show. Teresa was one. Noah Paloma. I can't ever say there was a character even on Passion. I'd say they're my least favorite, honestly. My only regret with Passion, I wish I would have watched it a lot sooner on because it was such an iconic soap in my mind. Daryl Taylor said, who's your favorite mob family in soaps? You have the Smiths, the Castlines, the Stenbecks, the Santos, the Hesters, the Cambias family, the Drones, and the Demiras. You forgot the Corinthos, though. Daryl, you forgot the Corinthos family. What about them? They're a mob family. I forgot about them. All right, so from the selection you gave me, Daryl, even the Smiths, the Castlines, the Stenbecks. Was the Castlines a mob family? Aren't they monarchs? Like princes and stuff? Because I wouldn't classify the Castlines as a mob family, though. Okay, basic choice gaming gave me the Smiths, the Castlines, the Stenbecks, the Santos, the Hesters, and the Cambias family, and the Jeromes. I'm gonna go with the to me, it's gonna be a tie between the Santos and Jeromes. That's my favorite mob family. Okay, even with the Demiras. Okay, Demiras number one, and then Santos Jerome number two. All right, Daisy Flower says Days has always been more look based. Really? Why do you feel that way? Jakari says, why Teresa? Why Teresa? Okay, why Teresa? Teresa was just always so needy for a man. And that's one thing I really hated in soap characters was neediness. And something I really don't like in soap characters, like with As World Turns, with Luke, he was always so needy for validation from so many people around town and from Noah. And I get it, he came out, but I don't know. There were other great characters on soaps. They weren't like always needing validation like the way Luke did on As World Turns. Luke needed everyone to validate him in his whole existence. He needed his friends to validate him. He needed the garden outside to validate him. You know? He needed the butler to validate him. He needed the doorman at the college to validate him. And I cannot stand neediness in some characters. And Teresa had that as neediness for Ethan throughout the whole series. It started to feel pathetic after a while for me. Jakari said I couldn't stand Ethan. Ethan Crane. I don't get why Vincent was in love with Ethan. Like, where did that come from? I'm like, did I miss in that storyline? Because that's the one thing about the Black Mirror storyline I just did not understand was this infatuation they had with Ethan. Daisy Flower says I hated Teresa as well. In terms of Days acting, Allie's hard. Hard isn't good or bad, we mean. George says Even Passions was horrendous. I never forget when even the blackmailer were together, and Eve said, "Where's my son?" And the blackmailer goes, "Your son is here." Oh my god! All right, Daisy Flower says Cassadines are royalty. Yes, they are. They are royalty. They are monarchs. They are monarchs. All right, Dolomite TCS says Dave's been doing pretty decent with acting lately. I think it depends on the material and the acting partner. I'll agree with that as well. Daisy Flower says if I put the acting of GH younger actors against Days, GH younger actors are better. You think so? I really am just sipping my tea honestly because it's getting cold. I'm not doing it that kind of way. It's really getting cold. But do you really think so? All right. Daisy says Allie's hard to watch. What is up with people in Alley? I think her acting is fine. What is it about it? What is it about those scenes that is so hard for you guys? Tell me. Okay, Jakaria says Simone stayed slapping with me. Do you remember that scene when they went to go visit Aunt Irma on Passions? When Simone went to go visit Aunt Irma, and Aunt Irma was who played Big Mama on Days. Big Mama on Days. And I never forget, Simone went to go see their nursing home, and she was just like, "That family is out of control. You got your sister over there marrying her brother, and you are a lesbian. Ain't that a bit?" And then the best part is when she goes, "You can't be a lesbian. It's a natural." It's a natural. Oh gosh. All right. Daryl says they're like an international crime family because of stuff Elena, Mikos, and Victor did back in the day. Man, plus Stavros. Yeah. But cast stars are losing their oomph on cameras. They're losing that oomph for me. Daisy Flower says yes. All right. Lisa says, I don't get it either. I like Allie. Yeah, I'm trying to figure what's going on. Allie, I like her. I believe the actress who played Allie was also in Degrassi. Was that or her sister was on the show? Jakari says, I don't like Allie. And Jakari's Nailer says, I remember that scene. Oh, yeah, with Aunt Irma. It's a natural. All right, Dolomite TCS says, don't forget that Gwen was constantly throwing hands on Passions, too. Gwen and Teresa was a rivalry. It was such a hot point of the show. But Teresa had this obsession with Ethan from the jump. And Teresa, to me, was a gold digger. She was selfish. I don't care how you want to put it. They try to make like a Cinderella story from the beginning. Teresa was those things. She was materialistic. That's why she loved the Crane family so much. She was materialistic. And I feel like that was a difference between her and Whitney. But I feel like Whitney, I get it. The Russells and the Lopez Fitzgeralds, they grew up differently, right? The Lopez Fitzgerald always struggled for money. I mean, Pilar was a housekeeper for the Cranes, while Whitney's mom was a doctor. It was two totally different worlds. And I get it. When you have something, you don't crave it so much because in life, you don't keep constantly desiring what you already have. You don't. And that's the thing. Teresa never had that. She always craved and wanted and wanted and wanted and wanted, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it put her in a lot of really messed up situations because there was a time just to secure the Crane name, she decided to just go on with Julian being little Ethan's father. That told me exactly what type of woman she was. And even when the blackmailer was sitting there putting everybody at risk, she decided to not sell out the blackmailer so that he would keep her secret about little Ethan. That tells me everything I need to know about Teresa. That's how I felt about her. She showed her ASS every time on that show. She showed you exactly who she was every time. All right. Dolomite TCS says, don't forget. Okay, I read that one. We said Gwen has constant throwing hands of Pash too. Yep. And then Daryl Taylor says, so did Johnny and Ava end their affair? Can we even call it an affair? Do you remember when Rafe and Kate were sleeping together and everyone's like, Kate and Rafe are having an affair? And I was just like, what affair? Nobody's married. What affair is going on here? What affair? But I don't know. I don't think they're having an affair, but I actually hope they would keep it going. Maybe Ava would end up pregnant. I don't know if they're willing to go there. All right, Jakari says, I don't feel like Teresa was none of that, in my opinion. Really? Okay, so how did you see Teresa then, Jakari? Did you see her as a hopeless romantic? Because that black woman storyline told me exactly who she was. That was exactly who she was. All right. Alisa says, I think Teresa just wanted the Prince Charming. She did, but that blackmail storyline showed me who Teresa was. I felt like I saw a little bit of it. She had a good heart. Don't get me wrong. She was obviously better than Gwen in comparison, but Teresa was selfish. She really was. Lisa says Johnny and Ava did not have an affair. Exactly. They didn't have an affair. Daisy Flower 40 says Teresa was a stalker. She was. Now, see, here's the thing. Had Teresa been a man, do you think we would have been able to accept all the stuff that she did? Because Jakar says Teresa was a romantic, always wanting a happy ending. Like Erica Kane. I'm happy at the end of All My Children when Jack said to Erica, frankly, Erica, I don't give a damn what you want. Because Erica can't, it had always been about what Erica wanted. It's always about Erica. And I'm happy that he kind of put the brakes on that and said, that's enough. Jack, shut her down, that finale. Shut her down. All right, Jakari says, that's your opinion, DC. I can't argue about this. Teresa was a hopeless romantic, though. I would agree with her. She was a hopeless romantic. She was. Teresa definitely was a hopeless romantic on Passions. And I get it that she wanted a life beyond what she had lived with the Lopez Fitzgeralds, which is such a unique name on the so Lopez Fitzgerald. Like, what? That is such a unique name. Oh, let's not forget the fact that Sheridan was best friends with Princess Diana. You didn't see this on any other soap. You just didn't see this on any soap like you did on Passions. You just didn't see it. All right, you didn't see it. All right. Daryl says James Stenbeck had 3 sons in As Well Turns: Paul, David, and Jordan. Paul, David, and Jordan. Didn't he have another one like Henry or Dusty? There was another one revealed towards the end. I'm almost sure of it. Daisy Flower 40 says no, she was seriously unstable stalker. All right, Dolomite TCS says I remember when the soap magazines were saying Teresa was going to be the next Erica Kane of soaps. Wow. Okay, I didn't know they said that, but I'm telling you right now, I see the comparisons. I see the comparisons. Seriously, I can definitely see it. I can definitely see it. Damn. Sometimes I wonder if Passion is still on, what it would have been. Man, I really took that show for granted. I didn't appreciate it the way I should have back then. I feel bad. So I try to appreciate these soaps now if they would get the storylines together. Lisa says, I didn't like that Jack and Erica did not end up together. I feel like they should have too, because Erica's been chasing love her whole time in the show. They should just put them together at the end, honestly. But I think it was because the reboot thing. But they still should have just put them together, you know? Dolomite TCS says, Passion got dragged for the Princess Diana thing. People try to boycott. Oh, wow. Damn, I didn't know that. Damn. I mean, well, I kind of get it because it was such a sensitive thing to say the character was friends with Princess Diana and then using her name so explicitly in the show. And I remember watching this episode years ago because I only started watching Passions around 2005, 2006. So I got a chance a few years ago to see the earlier episodes when it first premiered, when Sheridan went to like France or somewhere. And then the photographer said at first, it's Sheridan Crane. I have to shoot her. And at first, I didn't make the connection that he was just willing to take a picture of her. He was like, I have to shoot her. You know? It is Sheridan Crane. I have to shoot her. You know? it's just, but I didn't know they tried to boycott the show. I didn't know. But see, I just had some really unique storylines. It was very unique. Very, 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 very unique. All right. Daryl says, yes, Henry was his 4th son. So Paul, David, and Jordan. We only really see most of Paul from what I remember. And then, of course, not. And then Henry. Daryl says, I hate JR for killing Marissa in the reboot. Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. I didn't understand that either, why JR killed her in the reboot. I didn't get that either, honestly. To me, that made no sense, why JR would kill her in the reboot. I didn't get that either. Dolomite says, people are also mad because Passions replaced Another World. Yeah, the network had to take something off because they said they weren't going to just allow Passions to take a 3 o'clock slot or something like that. So they had to pick, and they picked Another World to be axed, pretty much. They broke up Sheridan and Louise. Yeah, that was the thing that confused me about Sheridan Louise and Fancy and Louise. Who was truly the love of Louise's life? Was it Sheridan or Fancy? Because I feel like the writers weren't even clear on that. You know, they had this love triangle between an aunt and her niece, but they weren't really clear on that. And then remember when they brought in Pretty, Fancy's twin sister, and she's like, look what you did to me my whole life. I have a scar. And it was like the scar, you could barely see it. It was like this. It was like something like this. Like you could barely see whatever the scar was. You could barely see it. She's like, look what you did to me. I had a scar my whole life. And I was like, at that point, I knew the writers were just trying to be funny. I know they were trying to be funny because Pretty's scar wasn't even like half of her face. It was like a dimple. And she's like, cool, look what you did to me. And I was like, okay, like as much as you got. All right. And Lisa says, anything about Pine Valley? Oh, like have we heard anything about Pine Valley spinoff? No, I don't think it's happening. I don't think it's happening. We gotta cherish what we have left, guys, on these soaps. We gotta cherish what we have left. Dolomite TCS says it was weird. They started with Sheridan and Louise as a super couple, and they just swerved at the very end. It was very weird. Yeah, because Louise was working for the Cranes, him and Miguel. And I remember he tried to tell Teresa, yo, those Cranes, they're no good people, blah, blah, blah. But you know what would have been good? If they would have had a Lopez Fitzgerald, like if Pilar had a child with someone from the Cranes, or maybe the writers decided not to go that route because it would have been too typical, too expected for her to have a secret trial with someone in the Crane family. But I guess Teresa was the one to do it, so they did mix in some kind of a way. Oh, so did Louise. Louise had a child with Sheridan Crane, but I mean, like, what I mean is, like, if it would have been cool if they had someone in the first generation of the Lewis Fitzgerald, meaning like Antonio, Teresa, Luis, Paloma, like that generation. Like they had a sibling that was a Crane. That would have been cool. Like if Pilar had gotten with, Julian or something. But I get it. They want to go that route. So I get it. I get it. Dolomite TCS says, oh no, I read that part. Lisa says yes. Daryl says the way they had Victor go after Todd in the reboot was interesting. Victor was in the reboot? Do they still have the reboot on Hulu? So I go back and watch it and try to be surprised? Or try to feel a little surprised from whatever is or isn't happening? I wonder if that. I'm wondering. All right. And Jakar says, how do you feel about the Bennetts? The Bennetts to me were giving Bauer energy on Passions. What's another soap family I can think of the Bowers compare the Bowers and the Bennetts to? Like the Webbers, the what's another good soap film I can make this comparison to? Because the Bennetts weren't giving front burner storyline energy at all. The Bennetts, I wasn't crazy about them. Like I barely noticed them, to be honest, when I watch Passions. I'm gonna be honest. I just feel like that. I barely noticed the Bennetts. I barely noticed them. He says, remember, Martin did go off with Catherine. Okay, Martin Lopez Fitzgerald was their father, right? Because Antonio was their brother, right? Dolomite said, I'm sorry, I keep saying Dolomite TCS says, I think there was a prophecy from Tabitha that Teresa, Mrs. Crane, yeah, but she was going to have damage to the family. Yeah, I remember that. It was a crystal ball that said she was going to be Mrs. Crane. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And then she also revealed that he had a secret that he was keeping from Eve, something regarding his father. Lisa says, I don't recall Victor and Todd on the reboot. Todd went over to GH. Yes. See, because I don't remember Victor in the reboot either. I don't. I remember the reboot either at all. I don't. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna close the live stream right about here. I'm an hour and 32 minutes in, and let me see. I'm gonna answer some last minute questions here if I head on out of here. All right. Dolomite T says only band that was worthwhile was K and Miguel. How do I describe K's character? It had a lot of potential, but it didn't hit the way I wanted it to on Passions. A lot of potential, but it hit the way I wanted it to. But anyways, guys, that's it. I am out for tonight, guys. I got to go get some dinner, get some stuff done. I will see you guys possibly next week, if not the week after next. My birthday is coming up 2 weeks, so I might not be back till in the month, but I will be here through posts and stuff, and community posts and some polls I'll be keeping with you. Kay was giving Sammy energy. Was she really? I didn't get Sammy energy from Kay. I didn't get it from her. Daryl says my favorite soap families are the Bradys and the Snyders. The Snyders are a mess. Snyders are a hot mess for the farm family, little farm family. The farm family Snyders living on a farm. Good Lord. The Snyders. Was there even like a rich family on As Returns, like an established? I know there was Lucinda, but like I feel like there wasn't enough Walshes. Because Lucinda was kind of like a Catherine Chance. Catherine was ahead of the Chancers, but the Chancers is not really like an established family, if you know what I'm saying. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not. Because was there ever a rich family on As World Turns? I know you had the Hughes, but the Hughes weren't like rich or anything. Not from what I remember. Daryl says, happy early birthday. Do you have Facebook? No. I actually don't have any social media. But I do have my email that I posted on my About page for people to contact. Just ask. Nobody said anything crazy. That's all I'm asking. Don't send nothing crazy now. Don't send nothing crazy. But yeah, that's it. I don't have no social media, unfortunately. That's a conscious decision. That's a conscious decision on my part not have one. But was there a rich? But can someone answer that for me before I go, Jakaris or somebody? Was there a rich family on As World Turns that wasn't Lucinda affiliated? Because I don't recall that. I don't recall there was a rich family. They had a mansion, everything else. I don't recall that. I know there was a huge, but they weren't rich, right? Like you know how on Young and the Restless, you had the Newmans, you had the Abbotts, the Forresters. The Hughes were the rich ones on a cop salary. Hmm. Hmm. Because on Guiding Light, you had the Spaldings. You see George exactly. I don't recall that either. I'm not the only one. Because yes, there was Lucinda, but she wasn't like she was the head of her family in a way. The Walshes, but it's like she was kind of a standalone. If that makes sense, kind of like how Catherine was like a standalone. Because it's not like the Chance was like this established family. They were mixed up with so many different last names, so many different places. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? So I never really that never really felt clear to me. Like how it was with the Spaldings, it was clear. This was a rich family. This was the Spaldings. This is their patriarch, Alan, and their matriarch, Alexandra. Even though she was Alan's sister, not his wife. But I still consider her the matriarch of the Spaldings. His bio mom was rich. Lisa. Okay. So they're rich in a different type of way. Because I guess I'm used to the typical soap thing where they own some $1 million enterprise or something. Okay, so they're a different type of way. Okay, because I was like, I never recalled that. Because on All My Children, you had the Chandlers. Tom's my mom was Lisa, right? Okay. Yeah, More Like to Live, you had the Lords, the Kramers, the Mannings, General Hospital, the Corinthos, the Quartermains, most notably the Quartermains. As well as Another World, you had the Coreys. Um, Passions, you had the Cranes. Um, Days, you had the Curioxes, the Demiras. So, it was just more clear to me on those, I would say. So, but anyways, guys, I'm gonna close out this live stream, guys. I'm out. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for rocking with me so much. I know Albert's gonna have a live stream tomorrow, so I'm gonna go ahead and act a fool up in the chat tomorrow. No, just playing. But also, guys, like I said, check out my videos, check out my reviews that I have posted here today. Just comment on them if you like the content, if you're feeling it, you want to just shout out, say some things on it, whatever. Anyways, guys, I'm out. Thank you guys for rocking with me, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. I want to say stay safe. Thank you for the happy birthday, Dolomite TCS. I appreciate it. I'm getting old, you know what I'm saying? Um, guys, thank you guys for just coming in and just supporting. And, I just wish you guys the best week, the best weekend. I mean, the weekend's almost over, but, stay safe out there, guys. We're gonna. Even though I may not be posting for the next 2 weeks, I will be posting my community posts, like polls and stuff like that, just to kind of stay in touch with you guys a little bit. As I take some time as a hiatus, so I'll still be in touch with you guys, right? And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video, all right? I'm out of here. All right.